In other words, the truth is that Yitzchak, when he came to Uman with a few other Pradesh Bacham, one of the Bacham died, got sick and died. But there were a few of them, I don't know offhand exactly how many. In any case, he was 15 years old. And first he became a Talmud of Shimshon Barsky. And later on he became a Talmud of Avraham Nachman's. But to call him a Talmud of Avraham Nachman's is a joke. Because Rabbi Yitzick was 15 and Avraham Nachman's was 70. How could this 15-year-old boy understand Avraham Nachman's?
Although at the age of 22, the Zakanim sent him to be the Baal Musa for Rosh Hashanah.
Beseder.
In Uman, 22.
Beseder. He had a lot of Kishanis, Rabbi Yitzchak. But the point is, he's not really a Talmud of Avraham Nachman's. It's a joke.
But he sat by him. He
sat by him.
He knows the stories.
How many times does he quote? The Rabbi Nachman's quotes his father, Nachman Tuchina, a few hundred times, let's say. Right? If you look in the Or and etc., it's chock full of quotes from his father. But the Yitzhak quotes Rabbi Nachman's maybe 5 times. In other words, it's true that the idea of transmission is very important in Breslov. And again, Reb Nassim got from the rebbi, and Nachman Tuchina got from Reb Nassim, and Reb Nachman's got from his father, and Reb Yitzhak got from Reb Nachman's, but just the Militzis Adovar, so that the tradition should continue, right? So b'dochak, we say, okay, Rabbi Yitzchak, yeah, he's a Talmud of Reb Nachman's, and we're Talmidim of Bender, so therefore we're part of the tradition. But it's not really so. In other words, on a deeper level, the idea is that even really Reb Nassim was not the Rebbe's Talmud. To really get Reb Nassim, before he died, he said, I don't know if I was actually the Rebbe's Tmimis. Nassim is saying, I don't know if I'm, really the Rebbe's Talmud. Okay, I call myself his Talmud. I say Taris and Kutuman. I will, I deal. I build the shul in I'm all over the place. But Nassim himself was Mesupik if he actually did what he did.
The Anvanu Sav, he was an honor. Bender Yetter, he was an honor of Rav Nassim.
Okay. Say that again, everything's a question how you take it, how you understand it. Is Rav Nassim serious? Does he really think that he wasn't Yitzick Rebbe? So I say yes. Yes. Because the Rebbe was so great. Who could be Yitzick and who could really understand what the Rebbe wanted? Rav Nassim himself refused to listen to the Rebbe on the last night of the Rebbe's life. When the Rebbe wanted to talk to him, he refused to ask him, Rav Nassim, because he was afraid the Rebbe is going to talk about his death. Okay, that's legitimate, but still he missed out on what the Rebbe wanted to tell him, which who knows how important it was. So I'm saying that from a certain point of view, certain cynical Litvish point of view, you can say the truth is that nobody was Yitzick. Not Rav Nassim was Yitzick Rebbe, not Rav Nachman Tuchina was Yitzick Rav Nassim. Rav Nassim said, the person who carries out my water from the Negelwasser, he will be the manig after me. So what is he saying? He's saying, of course he's not Rui. So Hakol is the guy is schlepping out the Pamemichkes, whatever it's called. He's schlepping out the Negelwasser, what do you call it, Kalim. Of course he's not Rui. But that's what it is. There's nobody else. So and so on. So Rabbi Yitzchak, somehow he's connected to Avraham Nachman. It's true, and therefore somehow we're connected to him. How much am I connected to Rabbi Yitzchak? I never had any emun in him, but I hung around him, so I can say I'm for the purpose of this segula.
Birchas HaChodesh you seldom do.
Right.
Ad שיבוא משיח לא יהיה ברכס החודש. עד שיבוא בר נפלי לא יהיה ברכס החודש כזה.
אוקיי, נכון. something. A bissel, that's what I said. A bissel is echet good. It's a bissel. Okay, now I want to talk about what do they do?
But there's two other traditions. The Reb
Right.
Rosenfeld people
Right.
hold that it all comes from Reb Stern Saltz, Reb Avraham Zal,
Right.
who comes from the Chirina Rav,
Nachon.
who comes from Rav Nosson. And they have their own tradition.
Nachon.
And now, the Odessa people, they have from Moshe Breslov or whoever he was Makaba, they have their tradition also. That makes
The stage is there's at least three traditions, but then the question is, what do you do with these traditions? I read an article by Ephraim Koenig, so he said, he's speaking about the differences of the Balei Tefillah in Uman, the intricate, delicate differences in Nusach. So he said there's differences. I'm davening according to what he's saying, what he heard from his father, Gedalia. And Gedalia is davening what he heard from Avraham Steinhatz. And the Nusach by Rebbe Yitzchak was different in certain minor points, which I wasn't even zeicher to remember, because it's so minor, it becomes infinitesimal. But it's there, right? So the reason it's Etzem Yom Hazeh. You have some chazanim who are davening in the Uman with the Nusach of Rebbe Yitzchak, and you have some chazanim who are davening with the Nusach of Rebbe Yitzchak. You say that. There's differences. The question is differences. There's differences about the tcheles. There's differences. Anyways, I want to talk about Levi Yitzchak, Bender. That what is he doing? You know, it's from the Sichas, from the Sichas Safek Kodesh, which originally was called Sichas Sipurim. You see what he's doing, you know, what he's trying to do. Let's put it a little bit in Kabbalah language. He's the fifth door, right, from the rebbi, Levi Yitzchak. So that's Hoy, right? In other words, this is from Chesed to Hoy, the 5 Chasadim, right? From Chesed to Hoy. And Hoy is Kol.
again, the Rebbe is Chesed. Rav Nosson, it's Gevurah. He wrote everything. It's Gevurah.
What?
Gevurah is writing.
זה פשוט זה לא גייס החוכמס that the Yitzchak is Hoyd, and Hoyd is a Klolius, because Kol is Gematria 50, which is the 5 spheres times 10. So the Hoyd is a Klolius. It's like the Makabah Patish, right? The end of the 5 fingers. So what he's trying to do in his sichos, again, I don't know, consciously, this is a subjective thing, I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to like put the 5 generations together. In other words, like he's working, for instance, of Nosson, the generations that came after out of Nosson, right? Of Nosson, there's a lot from him. There's a lot of progeny, right? His grandchildren and great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. So if you look in the Siyas HaVakodesh, you see he's talking about them. He's like trying to immortalize them. And there's the Einiklach of Rav Yudl. Rav Yudl also left Einiklach. I guess what he's doing is like he's taking all the different towns he visited. Levi Yitzchak himself visited all these different towns, and he stayed over for Shabbos by the top Breslov of the town. So he has like a feeling for these people, right? He was a person of Levi Yitzchak. That's his shtick. That it's not like Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman is when he talks about people, but he also like categorizes them. This is the Anshe Masamat, and this is the Anshe Avoida. He sees everything from an intellectual view, Rav Nachman's. Each person is shaykh. Each sphere, each person is shaykh. But he's not that. He's a person. He's a people person. He meets people. He remembers them. He ate at the house. He remembers if it was a good, it was a good meal. And so that's what he's doing. In other words, he's immortalizing, in the Siyas HaKodesh, you have immortalized like a few hundred people who were alive at his time, and were descendants of the original Breslovers, and some, plus some new Mikuravim, but not much. It doesn't talk about much about the new Mikuravim. He's much more interested in the old stock and the people from who are coming from a few generations in Breslov. And
Yes, you need the professor, the university professor, Garb, I think it is, about all the new Breslovers he's writing.
okay.
I think I gave you the book once.
To say there, but Yitzick was a conservative person, he wasn't a professor. To him it was important the Messiah. It wasn't so important in the new Mikuravim, even though he himself was a new Mikurav, right? But like his father-in-law was Avraham Kibitzer, who was a Talmud of Pinchas Kibitzer. So that's really like a new Geza in Breslov, the whole Kibbutz Geza. But it was like 3 generations, it was like, he's like the 3rd generation of that Geza, right? So he could consider himself, and I said, that's what he was thinking. I think he was examining, that's why there's a town, Babrinitz. He talks about Babrinitz. Babrinitz is not talked about. It's a new town. I don't know how they become Breslovers, but it was from Talmidim. It was from Einiklach of Nassen. So he talks about the Babrinitzer people. Why? Because they're carrying on the tradition of Nassen. So that's the way he's looking at things. You know, he's seeing things. He's seeing like a world in eclipse. Right? That whole world is just about to be ready to be pushed out of existence. Right? But that whole world of the Breslovers in Teplik and the Breslovers in Turin and Tulchin and Nemirov, all those towns that existed in the time of the Rebbe existed in the time of Rebbe Yitzchak. It was still all there, ala makom, with their tzetzaim, tzetzaim. And for instance, like Yitzchak said that he saw the Ksav Yad of Shmuel Isaac, which is tremendous. If Shmuel Isaac was 4 generations before him, and the Ksav Yad was still there in Uman, and those things were so like glued to the spot. And Rabbi Yitzchak was the last witness in Sdom. He's the witness to see it all, and he's trying to document it, because it's gone within his own lifetime. The whole thing totally collapsed.